What's up, fantasy junkies? Welcome back to the Daily Fantasy Sweat podcast presented by What the Lou Media. I'm your host, Kris King. We are here on a Wednesday, and we are going to take a look at Underdog Fantasy because we're going to try to do one of these shows every week. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth. I've got some rankings for you over here. We just really like this site. We're not necessarily, we're not like sponsored by them or anything, but we'd love to partner with Underdog. So Underdog, if you're listening, if you're watching, reach out. Yeah, hit us up. Yeah, we'd love to, work together and promote your stuff. You promote us. It's a win-win. Let's do it. Let's do some business. All right, speaking of doing some business, it's business time. Don't sue me. Flight of the Conchords. We're going to look at this week's contest over on Underdog, which is, let's just bounce over here real quick. Let's go to the lobby, and it's really zoomed in, I know, if you're watching over there on YouTube. So here it is. It's the Battle Royal, but spooky. Right here, $5 entry. There are 4,500 entries, 20K in prizes, and a winner gets 4,000 up top. And we're jumping in here. Wait a minute, I'm not doing that yet. Going back to my rankings. We're going to go over some rankings here. That is actually the Atlanta, Carolina slate, which we would look at, except right now it's early in the week, and we don't know if Christian McCaffrey's going to play. And so it just kind of makes it a whole little, kind of a mess-up situation over there, not knowing if it's going to be McCaffrey, if it's going to be Mike Davis. So here's what we're looking at. You get, you're going to see the regular ADP when you open it up, and you look at rankings. This is how it ranks it by projection. And obviously, quarterbacks project the highest, so they're going to be throughout the top here. And then you kind of get into some running backs and receivers. But we set our own rankings over here based on what we like. So, you're going to see a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see a little like mirror effect over in the corner. Just don't pay attention to that. Right here in the middle of the screen is where we are looking. Right here, actually. So, Kareem Hunt up top against the Raiders. A porous run defense. You got, Kareem Hunt kind of the sole workhorse back. He catches the ball. He runs the ball. You pretty much you got three guys who kind of the industry is touting, and you can see that I've got a fourth in Dalvin Cook, assuming he plays. I think he's on track to play, but it's, currently questionable. And I really like his matchup. I really like, his opportunity here. So I have him fourth, but, right now, the touts out there, are talking about Kareem Hunt, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. All decent plays considering either matchup, opportunity, and whatnot. But I think Kareem Hunt is up top, A, because of matchup, B, because of opportunity, and C, because of his role, which is the primary runner and the pass catcher. Derrick Henry has a really good matchup. He's obviously got the opportunity as the only back there, but, not a big pass catcher. Yes, I know he caught, 5 balls, or either caught 5 balls or he had 5 targets. He had some targets in the game before last, but Derrick Henry can get game scripted out of a game. But we do have him second currently. And moving down from there, Devontae Adams in a great spot against Minnesota. But we want to keep talking about the running backs. Kamara, not the greatest matchup on the road at Chicago, but he is, he is kind of filling in. We don't know if Mike Thomas is going to play this week or not, and Kamara is he's just a Swiss Army knife. He does it all, and so he obviously comes out as a good play, but Dalvin Cook, I just really like against this terrible, terrible run defense, which is the Green Bay Packers. So I've got him ranked there at 4. And obviously Devontae Adams up here, after talking about the running backs, he kind of projects for me as one of the best plays just because we saw what he did last week. We saw what he did against Minnesota, at Minnesota, now at Green Bay, playing at home in week 1. So he can certainly dominate this pretty bad, pretty awful secondary in Minnesota. we move down through here. So basically, I have these set up in tiers. So basically, if you can get one of these top two, and, if you want to do something like this, move, Devontae down here and just kind of stick with the running back tiers up top. I mean, obviously, you can do this any way you want. You can set up your own rankings. But I've got it split right now. Man, I don't know. I feel like Kamara, could be up here and we could move Derrick Henry there. It's really the matchup that I like for Derrick Henry here. I think they're going to be up in the game. So that's kind of why I have it the way I do. We also don't know if Mike Thomas is coming back, which, we'll cut into. Kamara won't be used as, the primary pass catcher like he was this past week. Again, they're also on the road. Drew Brees on the road, kind of how that goes. Latavius Murray's there. Just a few more question marks here outside of the fact that Kamara is, pretty much involved in the passing game and running game. But it's pretty close up top here. But this is kind of how I feel. If you have one of the top two picks, I think you got to just go ahead and take your running back. And in this league, in this setup, you start one quarterback, minimum one running back, two wide receivers, a flex, and a tight end. So you can go two running backs, two receivers. You can go one running back, three receivers. And in a tournament style, unless there's some obvious, unless there's some obvious running back value, on the board, I pretty much want to go three receivers because, stacking, correlation, it kind of shakes out easier, and receivers have the opportunity to have the bigger days. We look at last week, we saw what Tyler Lockett did, we saw what Devontae Adams did. Running backs don't usually have an opportunity to get up into the 40s, let alone the 50s. So I want to take as many receivers as possible. So if I get a chance to just go ahead and lock in, and I think there's, this receiver is tough this week, but I think there are a lot of good plays where at running back there are, I think, very few good plays. So if you get a chance to lock up, one of these top two guys here, I think you need to do it. If you pass on Devontae Adams to take Dalvin Cook or Kamara, I don't blame you there either. I mean, I think honestly, it's kind of a good idea, I think. But if you do that, there are some running backs later. That's just kind of the way I feel. Like if you really like this game set up with Minnesota and Green Bay, and you want to take Devontae Adams and you're going to draft three wide receivers, there are certainly some running backs later on who I think you can get if you want to kind of go the zero RB approach. We are going to go ahead. We're going to jump over to the lobby real quick, and we're going to go ahead and jump in a contest because you don't know how long it will take, and we're only waiting for one, so that's good. You could jump in here and be waiting for four, and it could be 20 minutes until we get back in here. So I am going to go back over here. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let's get back in here. Go to here we are, and we'll just readjust the framing here over on YouTube. If you're watching over here, it's kind of a tight screen. I'm trying to keep my picks so you can see them as well as the board. We have the 104, so we're going to be picking fourth, which means we have a shot at one of these top in running backs here. We want to try to stack, try to correlate where possible. I'd like to get a quarterback with a receiver and then a run back from that same game. If I can correlate at two other positions, that's great as well. Kind of tough to do here sometimes because you don't always have, the option depending on what falls to you. If you wait on quarterback, I think it's much easier to set up a stack situation. And you kind of got to look ahead of the game. While we're waiting here, this draft starts in 7 seconds. But when we scroll down, you can see that I have my first tier of quarterbacks, which are the four guys that I want to get, if possible. If there's nothing else I like, on the board, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and I'm only putting him in here because I think, it's a tough matchup against Pittsburgh, but Lamar Jackson is really matchup proof, and I think in a tight game, Lamar Jackson is going to have to work much harder, and which means I think he's going to be taking more opportunities on the ground. I think he's going to be I just think he has a higher ceiling in a game that's competitive. And then we got Aaron Rodgers, but as you can see, if you wait on guys down here, guys like Joe Burrow, Jimmy Garoppolo, you can pretty much get with your last pick, Justin Herbert, even Carson Wentz in a great matchup. Okay, it is our pick. Derrick Henry, Kamara, and Devontae Adams went off the board. Man, Kareem Hunt's still there. I am absolutely taking Kareem Hunt because he is my number one player. Going to go ahead and take him right there. So Socrates is now up, and we pick again in 4 picks. So I'm going to assume that, Dalvin Cook may be off the board, although he might fall. And this happened to me in my last draft. I did one before, I started recording here, and I wound up getting Kamara and Cook in the same lineup, and that's on the same team. That's not going to happen. Dalvin just went. Lockett went. Everyone's going to be on Lockett this week, and I just think that's a huge mistake. Not to say he can't have a big game, but people are all over him, and I think DK Metcalf is more the alpha receiver. A.J. Brown goes off the board. So right now we have Kareem Hunt, and what I want to do in this situation is definitely try to correlate that, and the only really good way to do that is probably through Darren Waller at tight end. I always kind of want to look at taking a tight end. George Kittle goes off the board right before my pick. I like taking Kittle as well because I like the game situation there with Seattle, San Francisco. So that being said, I am going to take DK Metcalf here because I have a plan, which is I want to target. I got like Brandon Ayuk against this really, this secondary in Seattle, which allows, a good bit of air production. We saw, what Kyler Murray did. Clearly, Jimmy Garoppolo is not Kyler Murray, but still a Kyle Shanahan offense. I think they're going to be, moving through the air, and I'm going to want to get some stacks on that game. So I'm going to try to get Ayuk and Garoppolo with my last 2 picks, and I already have a Metcalf, so if I'm able to do that and land that, which in most scenarios, those guys will be available with my last picks, that's where I'm going. I'm also targeting, like I said, Darren Waller with the correlation with Kareem Hunt here. So I sort of have my stack guys already set up in my head. So with, let's see, it's into the second round, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more picks. My last 2 I know are going to try to be Garoppolo and Ayuk, and then I'm going to try to get Waller. Oh no, someone just took Waller. All right, so I can't do that. Probably not going to correlate with Kareem Hunt now. Now I have to kind of go and take a different approach. I pick 3 picks away. Keenan Allen would be a really great pick for me, although there's not much I want to correlate on Denver outside of Melvin Gordon, who I really like because Philip Lindsay is injured, and he is a guy that you can get with your very last pick, but I don't know if I'm going to go there. I could flip the script and take Russell Wilson here because I do have him ranked ahead, of any of the other skill position guys. When you look down here, he just took Keenan Allen, a guy I like. You look down here at the other skill positions. Yeah, this has just sort of put me in a corner here. But taking Russell Wilson is, not a bad situation. So I'm going to go ahead and take him, pair him with DK Metcalf. I still am targeting Brandon Ayuk later in the draft here. I have him much higher. I have him right here. Mixed in with these guys, these are my second-tier wide receivers. Travis Fulgham, Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, Kenny Golladay. I like these guys like Fulgham because I don't think anyone's going to take them. He will get overlooked many times, and they're going up against the Dallas secondary, who's obviously bad. Obviously, I'm playing the DVP game here, which is something that you kind of want to do. All right, so I have... where's my team? Where are they listed? Why is my team not listed anywhere in here? Okay, I'm going to, at this point, let's see. I think I can wait on Brandon Ayuk. I already have my running, but I need to take the best. I'm going to take Tyler Boyd here because I think he'll get picked before Brandon Ayuk, even though I have him ranked ahead. Where's my team? It's not showing my team anywhere, which is pretty annoying. Wait, click go to draft. There we go. I don't know. I guess you can draft from different screens here. I'm trying to reposition over on YouTube. Okay, so I have Russell Wilson, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, Tyler Boyd. I have 2 picks left. I'm going to try to get Brandon Ayuk to run it back. And then do I have anyone left to run it back with? There's not many Raiders that I want. Cincinnati's playing Tennessee. A.J. Brown's already out of here. So I'm probably not going to be able to correlate with Kareem Hunt or Tyler Boyd. And it kind of threw me for a loop because I wasn't able to see my team. So I was having to just kind of remember who I drafted. But over here, again, I know it's tight. It's a tight window over on YouTube, but here is my team. Russell Wilson, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, Tyler Boyd. Okay, it's my pick. I'm back on the clock. They only give you 30 seconds on Underdog, so you've got to be ready. Just so someone doesn't take him, I'm going to go ahead and grab Brandon Ayuk right here. I think he's breaking out as we speak. Deebo Samuel is injured again, so Ayuk is really, outside of Kittle, the number one well, he's maybe not the number one target guy, the number one pass catcher. That's obviously Kittle, but Ayuk is the number one wide receiver. So I really like him in this situation. I've got my three wide receivers. I've got my running back. So I just have to take my tight end. So let's just look at tight end. And I've got Jimmy Graham, Jared Cook, Richard Rodgers, all of it. Mark Andrews is here, but I'm not really feeling Mark Andrews against Pittsburgh. I know I said what I said about, and it is on me. I have 17 seconds to pick. I want to take somebody who, I think a lot of people are going to take Mark Andrews because of the name. And this is where you can get different. This is a large field tournament. Let's not forget. New Orleans struggles against the tight end. So I'm going to go Jimmy Graham here. It's just an attempt to get off any chalk tight ends. Because if you look, New Orleans does struggle. Look at this. Lamar Jackson's still available in the very last round. I don't even know if he got picked. The draft is over. Here's my first team. Now, I wasn't able to correlate very well with this team. Let's slide this over here. I'm sorry, podcast people. I'm always adjusting on YouTube, so sometimes I'm pointing something out that you might not notice. So, before we do that, let's look at the team that I just drafted. So, which I really like. I feel really good about. We have Russell Wilson. Oops. Okay, I'm trying to move the screen so you can see my whole team, but for some reason, there we go. All right, I have Russell Wilson. Got him paired up with DK Metcalf. Got the run back with Brandon Ayuk. I love that. Got Kareem Hunt. I think he's in one of the best spots this week for a running back. He's the primary guy. He's going to get the carries. He's going to get the targets out of the backfield. There is a pretty high total here. Neither defense is good, so I love the game script there for him. Got Tyler Boyd in a matchup where your quarterback is Joe Burrow, another guy who I really don't mind targeting, like down there with Jimmy Garoppolo if I'm waiting till my last pick to take a quarterback. And these are also guys who are not getting drafted. So I think it's really important not to just go with ADP here and draft the best players because, again, you're playing against 4,000 and a half other people who are going to draft based on what ADP is telling them. So taking guys who don't get drafted as much is definitely to your advantage. You play it the same way you play DFS. I mean, if you play in a 4,000 field DFS tournament, you're going to want to get a little different. I mean, obviously, if I'm playing in that, like I'm okay like eating some chalk because those are the best plays, but I want to pivot off one or two spots in a DFS tournament that's got a field of 4,000. So it's kind of the same way here. I'm going to take the best plays, kind of picks 1 through 4, even 5, but I want to get weird with a couple guys. That's why I took Jimmy Graham. And if you look what New Orleans has allowed against tight ends, I think he's in a good spot. Clearly, both both quarterbacks have targeted Graham, whether it's Foles or Trubisky. We might see Trubisky back in the mix here. And clearly the offense wants to get him involved. Also, we don't know what's going to happen with Allen Robinson, so you might have Darnell Mooney as the number one wideout. Really may open things up for Jimmy Graham here, who will probably be trailing against a superior Saints team and could see a lot of targets. So and he's not going to be picked very often in this format, hardly at all. So if some of these chalk guys like Mark Andrews and whoever else gets picked, at tight end, then you're sitting pretty. If you're a guy who is only picked a certain percentage of times in this format, kind of does well. So like that team, here's what I did in the team before that. I wasn't able to correlate at all, and I made that mistake. Well, I accidentally got an auto draft, so that's sort of a problem. You can see I have Kamara and Cook. That just fell to me. I had back-to-back picks in the first. I had the 106 and the 201. So I had back-to-back picks there, and both those guys were sitting there. And I normally don't advocate taking two running backs in this format, but with Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, I thought it was worth the risk there. I do have a little correlation here with my auto pick in Aaron Rodgers. I went to pick Brandon Ayuk, and I clicked draft, which it did draft, and since I have back-to-back picks here, it auto-drafted Rodgers, and then immediately I clicked draft, and I got Brandon Ayuk. So, and then I picked Keenan Allen earlier, and then I picked Darren Waller. Darren Waller is, I was targeting him in this draft as well, but wasn't able to get him. But I like his matchup regardless. Cleveland not very good against the tight end. It's going to be a high-paced game, a lot of scoring, and who better to throw in the mix than Darren Waller? He gets a lot of targets, and he's just part of that offense. So again, not much correlation, no real stacking. I do have the Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook back and forth for some correlation, but that is about it. So I like this team a lot better here. And you got to be open to changing your strategy. My strategy was to go Jimmy Garoppolo late and pair him with Ayuk. But because I knew I was kind of running it back, I was correlating this game with Seattle, San Francisco with Metcalf, and I was going to be able to get Brandon Ayuk later. I could have taken Russell Wilson or Jimmy Garoppolo. Doing something like this leaves you options if you kind of pre-plan on what receivers you're going to take, and you go ahead and try to plan those out. Like I know Brandon Ayuk is going to be available later because in some drafts, a lot of drafts, probably most people aren't even taking him. So I knew I could get him late. I knew I was going to, so I targeted DK Metcalf. And then when it was my turn in the third round, I didn't really have a whole lot. I was liking it with the skill positions, but Russell Wilson's staring me in the face. So take Russell Wilson. He works just as well as Garoppolo. I'll switch my strategy up a little bit. Not able to correlate as much as I wanted to, but I like Tyler Boyd, like I said, in that game environment where you have Joe Burrow leading the league in dropbacks. He's throwing the ball so many times, and clearly Tyler Boyd's one of the favorite targets. And you see in the last 2 weeks, you've seen almost double-digit targets for all three of A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. They are all getting targeted massively. So I like that, even though I don't have correlation. And then we already talked about Jimmy Graham. So that's pretty much it. Short podcast. We could maybe run another one if we wanted to. If it, wouldn't be very long. Let's see. Well, there's 4 people waiting, so you never know how long that might be, but let's just keep going down my rankings. So we kind of stopped here. I have 2 upper tiers of running back. I've got my top tier kind of solo guy in Devontae Adams. Tyreek Hill I've got up here with DK Metcalf and Keenan Allen. Kansas City playing the Jets. They have opportunities to really just kind of get back in the rhythm. They could really use this game after, last week just sort of not being in a comfortable situation, playing in the snow. They could use this as a get right spot, kind of like kind of like a scrimmage. I mean, it's a live practice against the Jets, right? So, Kansas City could just unload this week on the Jets. DK Metcalf, I like this game environment. I like this spot. Everyone's targeting Tyler Lockett right now, and I like Metcalf here. Keenan Allen just getting loaded up with targets. Denver defense not great, and then we kind of come to the point where you start to look at tight ends, and because tight end is so volatile, and because in a lot of situations, you're taking a guy like Jimmy Graham late or someone like that, TJ Hawkinson. Really the only guys that I truly count on this week at tight end is Kelsey Kittle and then Waller at sort of, he's like my lone tight end too. But after that, as you can see, I don't have any tight ends really ranked until we get down here. And if I have to settle on one, I'm fine with either Jimmy Graham, Jared Cook, or Richard Rodgers. So I like taking tight end early. I might even kind of bump this tier up here a little bit. I mean, if you took Kelsey or Kittle over any three of these receivers here, I wouldn't blame you whatsoever. So we come down here to another tier of wide receiver: Thielen, Lockett, Brown. I think I'd probably move Lockett above Thielen here, possibly. But it's tough to say. They're all kind of close in a similar situation. If you are going to be targeting a Cincinnati stack and you want to wait on Burrow, because, again, you can get him late. You can get his pass catchers late, A.J. Green, Boyd, whoever. A.J. Brown is somebody you might want to target if you do not get Derrick Henry up here for that correlation. And then right around this area, when a lot of these guys are gone, and we saw that, Keenan Allen got taken right before I took Russell Wilson. He was the one skill position guy who I may have taken right here in this format. But if you're staring at these guys and a bunch of skill position guys that you're not really feeling, I'm totally fine taking any of these quarterbacks. Mahomes, we talked about, it's going to be just basically a practice game against the Jets. Russell Wilson, great game environment, just MVP front runner right now. Let's skip to Aaron Rodgers real quick before we talk Lamar Jackson. Rodgers is, having a great season. Him and Devontae just like on par with each other. Good game environment. And then Lamar Jackson. Did I already talk about this? I think I did. I think Lamar is in a spot where, we've seen him underperform. He's like the 15th ranked quarterback this year, which is absurd. We certainly didn't think we were going to see that. We thought we might see some regression from like the number one, but we thought he might, I assume everyone thought he'd still be in the top 5. But Lamar in a competitive game, I think is going to be forced to run the ball because he's trying to stay in the game. So I think you see a better performance in games that are tougher for Lamar. Then you come down here to kind of tier 2 where I've got Travis Fulgham, Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, Kenny Golladay. Kind of talked about a lot of these guys already. We didn't really touch on, we mentioned Fulgham going up against the Dallas secondary, which is not good. Justin Jefferson, just a good spot here. He's not necessarily up here with Thielen, but we've seen Justin Jefferson outperform Thielen. And so taking him right here this late is perfectly fine. Golladay, just a good player. I mean, I like him better than coming down here to, at this point in wide receiver, there's no clear-cut answer. Yeah, I've got him split up, and I've got, Golladay here and Diggs, T. Higgins down here, but that doesn't mean anything. At this point, any of these guys could go off. All right, so we made it to another draft. So let's get to it. We have the 102 here. Let's slide this screen down so you can see where we're picking, and we're going to scroll up here. I am going to assume that, well, I guess we can't assume anything. I would assume Kareem Hunt gets taken first, but you might have a Derrick Henry lover, an Alvin Kamara lover here. But I'm hoping to get Kareem Hunt again, which means I'm just getting a lot of Hunt this week in this format on Underdog, which is good. I kind of want to be loaded up with players that I like a lot. So I will certainly take him. And in this spot, I'll either get Hunt or I'll take Henry. And if I take Henry, I'm definitely going the Joe Burrow stack. So I will be waiting on quarterback and other receiver. So I will likely try, if it's possible, with my 2.5 pick down here to land Kittle if he's still available. And then spin him off with maybe a DK Metcalf or a Tyler Lockett. Those are some of the game environments I'm trying to target, but we will see what happens in 10 seconds or less when DK Jets takes Alvin Kamara. Perfect. I am taking Kareem Hunt here again. And you can diversify. I mean, obviously, there's a couple different ways to go about it. You can try to diversify with as many different player combinations as possible. But I want to stick with a core as much as I can. And, and a core in this type of situation where really you're only starting 6 guys as opposed to like 8 on DraftKings, a core can be like 1 to 2 guys. So we see Derrick Henry go off the board after I picked Kareem Hunt. We see Devontae Adams go off the board, Dalvin Cook. So a lot of running backs here early. I pick again in 5 picks. Again, I am going to try to get myself Kittle here if possible. And I might even take Kelsey because locking up, although because I have Hunt, I probably want to try to do the Waller target again here, down here in like the 3rd round. So what other correlations wow, someone took DeAndre Swift this early. I mean, I'm all about that pick. Kittle goes off the board, so I can't get him. I mean, I'm all about some DeAndre Swift, but man, you could have got him way later. Okay, it is on me. I'm going to try and I'm going to go ahead and take Kelsey. DK's here. Oh, maybe I should just take Metcalf again and maybe I should play that core. Try to play that core again. Or I can take Kelsey and have the number 1 tight end. No, but I want to try to correlate with Hunt and get Waller. So I'm taking Metcalf again, running this core again of Metcalf and Hunt. So we'll see where I differentiate. Probably, I'm probably gonna go the route of Brandon Ayuk and Jimmy Garoppolo again. Which is what I tried to do last time. It's my pick again here. I can go ahead and take Waller. So now I'm correlated with Kareem and Waller. I got Metcalf, so now I'm targeting just more people more players from that game. Hopefully mainly on the San Francisco side. So I've got 3 picks left. I've already got my tight end. I've already got my 1 running back that I'm going to take. So I'm going to take 2 more receivers and a quarterback here. And I'm going to take the best wide receiver on the board next in my last 2 picks, assuming someone doesn't, jump out in front of me. I'm going to try to take Garoppolo and Brandon Ayuk. It's a very similar. Clearly, I'm not wavering very much from my last strategy. I'll have 3 similar players in Hunt, Metcalf, and Ayuk. But that's fine. That's my core, and I'll be able to diversify with just a few other players. I pick in 4 picks. So we got Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen all on the board who are on my list here. Tyreek goes off. I'd love to get Keenan Allen here. Fulgham goes off the board. There goes Thielen. And, Keenan Allen would be really great for me. I mean, the targets right now for this guy are just phenomenal. Tyler Boyd goes off. I am taking me some Keenan Allen. And so in 2 picks here, I got 2 picks left. I pick again in 2 picks. I'm going after Brandon Ayuk here, and then I'll shoot to take Jimmy Garoppolo with my last pick. Josh Jacobs goes at 406. DK Jets is back on the clock. Guy who had the first pick. Who did he take? Oh, well, he took Cooper Kupp there, so I'm going to go ahead and take Brandon Ayuk. This stacking game is working out perfectly for me. I'm going to have so much correlation. Keenan Allen will be my one guy just kind of flapping out there in the breeze. Now, this is assuming someone doesn't, snipe Garoppolo, but I don't think that's going to happen. You got Lamar Jackson out there. You got Aaron Rodgers out there. And it looks like everyone... I'm the only one without a quarterback. No, right here, Cranky Cleveland 2. What a great name, Cranky Cleveland 2. We're the only ones without quarterbacks, and I assume that he's not going to take Garoppolo. And this is perfect because I'm getting exposure on guys who, out of this 4,000, these 4,500 people who are playing this, not many people are going to have Garoppolo, and they're going up against Seattle. I love the way this is falling for me. This is almost like a perfect situation for me to get correlation between this game between Cleveland and Las Vegas, which is just kind of be a shit show, and should be a lot of offense going back and forth. Hardly any defense, and basically I'm just sitting here waiting because. I know no one's going to take Garoppolo. This guy ahead of me, he's already got his quarterback. I mean, I could just basically just kind of end the podcast here, in the show here, because I know this guy, he took Richard Rodgers. Also a nice late round. I like getting Eagles this week, man. I mean, Dallas is terrible. They are terrible. I'm taking Garoppolo, and there is my team. I love it. Jimmy Garoppolo paired up with Brandon Ayuk. Run it back with DK Metcalf. I lost my screen here. Oh, there we go. Let's click there. Hey, show me my third team. It's not showing me my third team here. Where is it? Oh, man. Well, anyway, I already know my team. Let's just get out of here. Let's just come back to me. I've got Garoppolo to Brandon Ayuk for my stack, running it back with DK Metcalf. I have Kareem Hunt running it back with Darren Waller, and I have Keenan Allen as my one-off. That's probably the best case scenario you can come away with in a situation like this, in a draft situation. I'm correlated to the gills outside of Keenan, and that's fine. You don't want every piece to be correlated. Don't take two players from the same game just for correlation purposes. I mean, the target volume that Keenan Allen gets is just enough that he can survive on his own with as much as Herbert is targeting him. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's show, the Underdog Show. Get on Underdog. If you haven't played there, it's a great place for best ball. At the beginning of next year, jump in, just do best ball drafts till the wheels fall off, man. So you can't click anymore. And then in season is great too. They offer some really solid tournaments, and there's leverage here, man. There's so much because so many people are just going to follow that ADP, and you're going to have so many players out there that are owned at such a high clip. And when you go off the board, if one of those guys hit, it's like having a 2% owned guy in DFS. Just whoop, if they hit, you go right to the top of the leaderboard. So that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching, downloading. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, YouTube Daily Fantasy Sweat. Subscribe, click the notification bell, leave a comment, leave a like on the video. If you're a podcast person, if you're a pod person, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, leave a rating and review. Always appreciate it. And until next time, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. May all your Underdog Fantasy dreams come true.